Is it too much? What about now? Let's get into it. Hi, welcome and welcome back. This week we are just doing a crochet moment. What do you think? So let's get into it. This week I wanted to achieve this look. I've been seeing online a lot of tape ins and a lot of clip ins, and I just remembered back in I think in 2016, 2017 when crochet was just all the rage. I think it was just newly introduced and everyone was doing all these crochet styles. And I remember doing a crochet style similar to this where I used loose hair to achieve just, I guess, a tape pin slash wig effect, but with the crochet method. So I wanted to do that this week. I used, for my cornrows, I used regular X-pression hair. This is in the number, this is in the color number 4, which is a little bit lighter than my hair. Usually I use number 2, but I just didn't have any for this week, but it's just for the base. You don't really see the base, so I wasn't too concerned. I started with my cornrows, and as I was feeding in the hair, I realized that for the first 2 cornrows, I fed in a little bit too much hair, and it just ended up a little bit too bulky for my liking. So for the first 2-3 braids, it was just too bulky. So I reduced the amount of hair that I was feeding in for the rest of the braids. But you want to feed in hair so that it helps you to hold the hair, not so much that it creates a lot of unnecessary bulk. But for after 3 cornrows, for the fourth cornrow, I just did the crisscross method in order to create a part. Again, I always wear a side part, but if you're someone who knows you're going to be wearing a middle part, then you put the crisscross in the middle or between the middle 2 braids instead of where I put it. But I know I always wear my hair in the side part and there's no point doing a middle part. For the last end of the braid, I just used some nail glue to close off the end of the tail, and I just tucked it in somewhere behind. But I'm just here showing you the middle part. So not the middle part, the side part that I created. And then this is the tail end of the hair. I usually just sew it down, but I didn't bother sewing it down here. I just tucked it in. But you can sew it down just to make sure it's secure. For the hair, you've seen this hair if you've watched my previous videos. This is the passion twist hair. This is the 14 inches. I ordered this hair in 14 inches and it's just passion twist hair. For the bulk of my head, so from everywhere in the back and up to the middle part, I used the pieces as it came. So I used the entire chunk of the each single braid basically. But for the front and for my side, I usually parted it into either 2 or 3. So for here, I'm showing you that I started off with parting into 2, but I decided it was just taking too long, especially for the back where it's not really it doesn't really matter as much. So I just because the front of the hair is going to cover it anyway, so I started doing each single braid, and then when I got to the front front cornrows, I started splitting it into 2. I'm just showing you here how I tied it. For the first insert, I realized that it was a little bit loose. So for the next insert, I had to insert it and then twist it around. So I don't know how to explain it verbally, but you can see visually when I insert the loop. I just kind of put the hair through the loop and just leave it as it is. But for the next few ones, I wanted it to be a little bit more secure. So I put the loop through and then I would twist the hair and then put it through a second time. I will show you what I mean later on. But here you see me inserting the hair and then just like fluffing out a little bit. The hair came, you saw the single, the way that it came, but I wanted it to be a little bit more voluminous, which I kind of regretted later on because it was a little bit too much volume. But I would insert the hair and then I would just separate it and fluff it out a little bit so that it was a little bit messier rather than just like one straight curl. And that's it. Um, this part we can just skip because it's just inserting the loops. And I'll check back in when I get to the front.
Tell me why you're crying, I'm getting big to you. When you gave me something I don't really feel. But you knew that already. When I found you on the ground, you were dying. No, you
Alright, so far you probably have noticed that when I'm pulling through the tail end, I pull the entire thing through the loop. But for the part where I know that my hair is going to be parted, I only pull one tail end of the both ends. So you can see here visually, I insert my crochet hook, I pull it through, and then I create a loop with my finger, and then I pull one tail end of the hair through the loop, not both ends. Some people call this an invisible method. This method just really helps with hiding the knot. So the knot will lie on one side of the braid, and then the other tail end that's not tied is just flipped over. So it helps with blending and it helps with not seeing that knot that's created when you pull the braids through. For these pieces, just for the pieces of my part, I divided the hair into three. So one piece of hair was divided into three, and then I just used one section uh, to pull through for my part. For the rest of the parts that near my front, I just used two strands, or I divided one strand into two instead of three. But making them smaller, the smaller the piece, the more it kind of helps to blend.
when I found you on the ground, you were dying. Now you come into my yard uninvited. Come you see me on the edge.
And the last point for the parting, when you get to this section, uh, I insert it from one side when I want the hair to fall the other way. But then for the other side of the part, I wouldn't insert it the same way. Like I wouldn't insert the crochet hook the same way. I would insert it from the opposite end so that the loop is on the other side of the cornrow. So when I pull and I tie the knot is now on the other side and not visible on the side that I'm going to flip my hair. So you can see here visually, now the loop is on the other side. It's now on the right side instead of the left side. But for the other side, it was on the left side and not the right side. So the direction of your crochet hook does matter for the parts that you want to see. And here is a better angle of what I was trying to explain. So this is the loop. I pull it through one end and then I flip it over to the other side. Very easy.
If the world was ending, would you cry or would you try to get me?
At this point, I noticed that it was getting really big. I almost wish I put less hair at the back because the front was going to cover it regardless, right? It was very voluminous, and I use three and like three fourths, so like let's just say 4 packs. I use 4 packs of those bundles that you saw at the beginning. So In my hand, it wasn't a lot, but obviously because I started like separating it and fluffing it out, it became very, very voluminous, but um, very pretty as well. This is me just like flipping it around just to show you that it was quite weightless. Like it wasn't heavy, it was just very big. If I put a scissors to it, I don't know how it's gonna look, but I think I want to cut a little bit. The length is not the problem. I just think it's just a lot of volume. Um, Also, if I were to do this again, I probably would have taken out a few from the back. Might just not make it as full because it's not heavy or anything. It's just very voluminous and very big. So I don't know what to do. What would happen if I just nothing bad happened. But I feel like cutting it is only gonna make it shorter, not less. Ooh. If I was to cut it, it would have to be a very drastic cut, like a very, but I don't want to cut it anymore. Here I am showing you the parting and how it looks. But yeah, very seamless. I decided I'm not gonna cut it anymore, but then I started trying to like put it out of my face because it was a lot. I tried to like use a clock clip to put it behind and it worked, but I just know me, like as an everyday wear, like I would get so annoyed. I also hate having hair like on my neck sometimes. So when I need to put it up into a ponytail or put it away, and I just can't because there's so much hair, that was going to annoy me. So that's ultimately the reason why I decided to cut it anyway. And honestly, I loved it. I'm going to do it. I think I'm regretting that. Oh no. Okay, so at first I was questioning myself a lot and I was second guessing it. But the more I started cutting from the back, it turned out pretty good. I think I just had to trust the process. How does that look? And I think the most important thing here is I started cutting from the back end pieces and then make my way to the front. And when I was cutting, I would cut from a slanted angle. Okay. I was scared at first, but it's definitely a lot better. Because now it's a lot shorter and I feel like it's a little bit more manageable. And for the tangling business, I have water, but I also have this curling smoothie. But honestly, because of synthetic hair, I always feel like I'm wasting products when I'm using like good products on synthetic hair. But I just want to see if it'll detangle a little bit. I think if you're not used to really big hair like me, the longer it is, the more like the harder it is to manage, and the more tangles it created, the more I feel like it was going to be frustrating. So I think with cutting it shorter and also putting some water and some curling smoothie, it kind of made it a lot more smooth and softer. Definitely feels a lot better. Yes, that definitely feels a lot better. So it's good to know that it can actually be detangled with some water and some curling smoothie. I think honestly any cream-based products would work. Oh, and this product just smells so good. I love it. Literally smells like coconuts. Well, artificial coconuts at least. I think I cut this side a little too short, but that's okay. Feels a lot less heavy. Well, it was never really heavy. I think it was Okay, I like that a lot better. Looking back at this, some of the blunt ends needs to be just teased out a little bit, but other than that, I think just cutting it short is just my ideal state. Anyway, if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you.